Okay, we're gonna call the curriculum meeting to order. I won't read the public comment procedure, since we just read it a half an hour ago. But if there's anybody who would like to make public comment, now would be the time. Is there anyone? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the first agenda item. So the first item is the AP Seminar Summer Assignment Textbook Approval Proposal with Dr. Dormer. Thank you.
I'm back again. Sorry. Seems like this is a popular topic this year, which I'm excited about. So in researching what we needed to do to best prepare for the course, we found that many schools were out there doing summer assignments and having the students coming in with a little bit of the groundwork laid in exposure to the QUEST framework, the inquiry-based strategy that they were going to be expected to pursue throughout the course. So we previewed a few different books and came up with one that really kind of fell in love with, to be honest with you. It's called The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. I don't know if anybody's familiar with one of his other popular works called The Talent Code. Developing kind of greatness and formulas for success. This one focuses primarily on group dynamics, collaboration, and how to function best when working with others. And it's a common theme. In fact, the T in the QUEST framework is team, transform, and transmit. So they're expected to collaborate throughout the entire, course experience, and we felt like this was one of the components that we really wanted to emphasize with our students, building that interpersonal, relationship, establishing good rapport, ability to communicate effectively, and so forth. So I'm going through, again, we previewed a couple of different things and split up the projected summer assignment into 3 components, one of which would be the culture code, the second of which would be to read an article, and we found one that was about the movie making industry, particularly the studio that put forth the movie Spirited Away, and things like that, and then a video analysis, a TED Talk actually, about collaboration. So build a tower, build a team, and that actually plays into one of the topics that is covered early on in the culture code. It talks about the tower challenge and the most effective group being the kindergarten students, who just dove right in and tackled the task instead of strategizing and planning, well, you did this part and I'll do that part, and we'll put all of our brains together and we'll come up with the fantastic design, and kindergartens beat out the engineers. So, sorry if I'm ruining the plot for you. So again, going through, the cost is relatively low. I mean, it's only available in hardback at this point, which I think we would actually want, since we want to be able to issue these to our students, hopefully on an ongoing year after year basis. The most cost efficient method we found was $19.04 a piece. We'd like 60 copies, so 2 classroom sets. Although, to be honest with you, after looking at our course request numbers, we might need to increase that a little bit. Right now we have 64 firm requests plus 33 alternates, which is outstanding and super exciting. And like Dr. Bolden alluded to at the last meeting, we had those guidance presentations in which they let me get up and be goofy and try to, market the course a little bit as well. And they've done a nice job in supporting the initiatives that we put forth. So the only thing that might be modified is the number of copies that we would need to order at this time, making sure that we have one available to every student who wishes to take the course. So I'd like to get probably 70 or 80 just to be certain. And then I just provided a brief little overview of what the expectations for the summer assignment would be. Students would have to apply the QUEST framework as they interact with each of these pieces of literature and or video talks and works and so forth, as they would be expected to do within the course. Any questions about this text or any of the components that go through?
Where's the price break for? Did you look beyond? Is that price for?
We did, in fact, through the curriculum office, we have tapped into into Barnes & Noble, they typically cut us a deal. They were actually, even with their 30% discount, were more expensive than the $19 per text.
Okay, so if we got 100 copies or 2,300, I read this, I was joking with Dr. Shai, I said, well, I'll take a copy, I think I'll just skim and scan it because it was last week when he gave, I read the whole
She
thing.
never passed it to me to skim and scan.
This
Not
book,
had a chance.
I could not skim and scan it. It is the most honest book I've ever read about group work. It's not sunshine and lollipops. It's not everybody needs to go along to get along. It's so honest. The one part it says, I'm giving you this feedback because I have high expectations for you and I want you to do, okay, I'm giving you these comments because I have very high expectations and I know that you can reach them. And honestly, the first person I thought of was you, Dr. Bolton. It sounds like such a Dr. Bolton thing to say, but
You really
but
read the
I
book.
think it's,
Take credit.
you know, it's a really fantastic book, and I think that I would love to have a book club about it. I could talk about this book for hours, and I'm glad.
your markings.
I know I don't want to give it back yet because
I've done the
I
same
need to take
thing,
notes
admittedly, I have page
on
numbers
everything that I
reports.
wrote down. But and then there was a one that the little tag that I kept the word purpose, and it's weird to me. This actually coordinates with what we just had here for Rachel's challenge. Daryl Scott talked about having a purpose. Everybody's got that purpose, and it's these small but mighty things that you do. These little things, and everybody's working as part of a hive. But my boom tab was because one of the women in here said empathy is, I can have empathy. The word empathy sounds so soft and nice, but that's not really what's going on. She understands what makes people tick, but what makes people tick isn't always being nice to them. Like it acknowledges that everybody can be, you can get good work from people by being honest, not cruel,
Right.
but by being honest. And it's also honest about that common problem that everybody has when you're working in a group, the one person that doesn't want to do anymore, but wants everybody else. It addresses that in here, and through these examples you see in many of them, they'll mention a person who kind of found his or her way out of the place if they weren't buying in. And even though it talks about group work, I noticed that there's always kind of a facilitator though. So there's still an individual aspect to it.
Right.
And Dr. Dormer, I see you as one of those quiet individuals that this is yet another thing that I'm telling you guys, you all need to read this book. And we can meet and talk about it. You want to talk about it?
Gotta add 10 extra copies onto that.
Want to do a book club with me,
I will
Dr.
absolutely
Dr.
join
Dormer's
a book
book
club
club?
with you.
Yeah.
It does follow nicely from the talent code, because when you mention purpose, that is like the major theme of the talent code, is practicing with purpose. Making everything that you do count in a really meaningful way. So, I'm all about authenticity and deriving meaning from our experiences, so this really spoke to me in a big way. Like you said, empathy can be represented in a lot of ways, and I love the variety of examples. There were athletics, there were business world, there was engineering, there was,
Just quiet people.
quiet
and
people.
not
There was
so
a
quiet
writing
people.
group, there was,
Yeah.
it was kind of all over the map, so I found that it could be something that would appeal to people who have very different interests.
So I
So,
get a lot of these. And we will have a group, but thank you. I think it's going to be about, so you intend to use it year after year. You're going to use this
Oh, yeah,
again next year.
absolutely.
and like cycle our kids through reading it. I think it is a really good piece for them all to read. So, sorry, I got a little exuberant about it.
okay.
I can testify that her tab literally said boom.
It says,
She wasn't kidding when she said boom tab.
I was alone in my house today reading it, and there was something that made me slam my hand down and jump out of my stool in the kitchen there during the part about the basketball coach. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I want you all to read this book. I'm not going to spoil it. You have to read it.
You'll have
It
your own
is.
boom moment.
We need to have
And that wasn't even the boom.
I'm gonna have to up my game, I did not boom tab.
You didn't. I gotta go back out and get more of these little flaggy thingies, but, so I won't take you through all the points, but I would actually, if you guys, do we have these yet?
We have another copy upstairs and I have my personal copy, but we did not order the
Oh, right,
sets
okay,
for the
right,
students
that
yet.
makes sense.
Because we were-
Okay.
Because we.
And Dr. Gorman, just two things I want to add. One, let's make sure that for the board meeting, we have a solid number.
Correct.
Just not comfortable saying it's going to be 60 to 80. Let's make
Let's
sure
set
we
a
know we have the
number.
right number for kids.
Yes.
And I mean, we can always order a couple more if we need to once the school year starts, but let's
Okay.
make sure that we have that number. And I did talk to Dr. Scheid to make sure that these funds, even if we do go up to as many as 80 copies, are included in the budget that she puts together every year. So that this was planned for and that money has been budgeted within the budget proposal that we've seen.
I just wanted to thank you for all of your hard work on this, and like you said, the number of kids that are interested in this class right away, I mean, that's not typical. Typically, they wanna wait a year and see how it goes right before they're picking it up, and so, you know, the interest level, I think, speaks to how great of a job you've done in sharing this, you know, the benefits of this course and helping to, you know, and rolling this out, and so thank you very much.
I intend to see it all the way through. I'm going to the training with, you know, the projected teachers this summer, and we really want to do this the right way and implement it with the best possible experience for our students. So we're going to do everything we can to make, you know, get off to a good start and keep that going. Keep the numbers high.
Very good. Is anybody else, sorry?
No, Joan, you said.
You want to read that?
I do want to read the book, actually, no.
I get it next. I got next.
I think I'm just gonna buy
As
my
soon
own
as I
copy.
can, yeah.
Like 15 for an electronic copy, which I know you can't then
Right.
use those again. But I just looked it up really quick on audiobooks and, cause I have to do Nick's audio now. So sad. But, yeah, they're $15, so for a 30-day rental. So if can't wait for Joan's book.
I'll pass it to Lisa and I'll get you all.
Clear your tabs out.
The rating scale go with, are you gonna talk about the rating
She's
scale
going
now?
The rating scale was just, I don't know if we can pull up the other document. I don't think I have access to that.
The rating scale?
The rating scale was just a tool that I use when evaluating the text to see, you know, how well it fit with our objectives.
Mhm.
So for really the only thing that was missing were visuals.
Which you don't really need for
But we
this.
don't need for this. I think in a lot of the situations, your imagination just kind of takes over, and that's almost better
Yeah.
than having, you know, diagrams and pictures to go with it. So, and besides that, we do support the visual component with the TED Talk. That's highly interactive, and they do some statistical work, you know, in that exposure. So we are tying that in with the other components of the summer assignment.
What's the name of the course?
It's called AP Seminar. It's part of the Capstone series. And it's the first course out of 2. You can only offer this one before the next one, so this is our pilot.
Questions for Dr. Dormer?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Sounds
thank you
great,
for
thank
your
you.
support of all this. It's exciting.
Thank you, Dr.
That was that one. Does anybody have any objection to going to the, Okay, so our next item is the summer school, report, location. It says locations, but there's more to it than that.
So this is an informational item. Danielle, can we pull it up? Is that possible, please? Just an informational item on the summer programs, dates, locations, times, transportation costs, and so there's a spreadsheet there provided. Very similar to this past summer in terms of what is being offered, but just wanted to present it to you, just to get a sense for the busy that will happen in June and July. Most of the programs end then, I think we go to August 1st on one of them, and that's the longest we have. And then August it gets a little quiet, but June and July are very, very busy. So just wanted to share that with you just as an informational item, just so that you knew. Since that list had been finalized and we now know the locations, was the last piece we were doing in terms of that piece. So.
Any questions on the summer school schedule?
I assume you're not recommending a rise in the tuition costs for the courses which have that?
Correct. Thank you for clarifying.
Is this an item that would need to be approved, voted on, or no?
I don't believe the summer school schedule does actually get approved.
normally approve the pricing,
Right,
but
okay.
not the schedule per se.
Okay, well then we'll put the schedule back on,
Okay.
because that has the pricing on it, so thank you for that, Misty.
Those were our only two items. And our next curriculum committee meeting is scheduled for April 8th in this room. And that brings us back to public comment. If there's anyone who would like to make comment, Mrs. Earl?
Sue Furlong, West Rockville Township. Normally as Peter said, the pricing is presented to the public, and it does give the estimated attendance and the cost of the staff, and they usually try to make that a break even. If you have transportation, I think you should charge for that, because summer school is not supposed to be burdened onto the taxpayer. So I would like to see that before you all vote on it, because it does need to be at a break-even point or better. If you want to charge more, I don't advise that. I think break-even is all you should ask for. But without those figures, I personally feel like I need to know as a taxpayer that you're in compliance with the fact that it is not supposed to cost me any money for summer school. It's not mandated. Thank you.